What's going on, guys? Harry here. Got some clips from the third day of 7 weeks out training. So this is week 2 of my powerlifting prep program. So on this day I hit squat strength and then bench hypertrophy work. So for the strength day it was 3x5. This was 375 pounds I was working with. The reps, this was probably like the worst my technique looked all week, which is a good thing because my technique has looked a lot worse than this in the past. And considering that this is like the worst day of the week, then I think that my technique is definitely getting much better, especially now switching to low bar like I've been saying, and just feeling a lot more comfortable with the movement. So really happy with this. As I started to fatigue, the reps got a little bit uglier and my hips started shooting up from the beginning, or like from coming out of the hole of the lift. But other than that, considering this is 375 pounds, I've never hit this weight for multiple sets of 5. I think I've hit it for a few sets of 5 here and there in the past, but never 3 consecutive sets. And I think that they all moved really well again, except for my technique breaking down just a little bit. But I'm squatting 3 days a week and still getting used to kind of recovering from low bar squats. So really happy with this. My wrist and elbow and forearm, whatever, that pain that I've been having didn't really bother me at all on this day. I think like towards the last set it kind of started to bug me and I started to feel it, but nothing that was like too excruciating that it kind of interfered with my lift. On one of my previous squat sessions, it kind of got to the point where I was not able to pull my elbow really tight underneath the bar, which would kind of cause my chest to fall over just a little bit. But on these I was able to not have that pain and just get through these sets really well. So some of the cues that I use now while squatting that I wanted to share with you guys are chest up, which is obvious, but another cue that kind of helps bring your chest up that I mentioned in the previous video is something that my coach Joe told me, and that's to kind of think about driving your traps back into the bar. So that'll bring your upper back kind of up and back as you would be driving it into the bar, and that would indirectly bring your chest up, which I found really helps me in being a lot more comfortable in the squat position and not breaking at like the thoracic spine, which is what has happened to me in the past. So moving on to bench press, really happy with the way that these moved. This was for the hypertrophy day, 4 sets of 8 reps. So earlier in the week I hit my squat hypertrophy day and that was 4 sets of 8, and this was 235 pounds, and these moved really fast, I thought. One thing that I've actually been doing in order to get a little bit more speed off my chest is just letting out a tiny bit of air as I'm like about to press after I pause for a second on my chest. So if on the day after this I hit my bench recovery day, and I recorded an angle from like a top view, so you can kind of see me blow out air for maybe like an eighth or a quarter of a second, just really little. But letting out that little bit of air really helps me get a little bit more explosiveness off my chest, which has really helped me, especially on the heavier weights on like my strength day. Really feel that the bar moves a lot better because that allows for the bar to be moving faster as it reaches the sticking point, which for me is right about at the middle of the lift. So as long as I can keep the bar accelerating really fast off of my chest, then I know that I'll be able to break that sticking point, provided the weight doesn't get too heavy. Another thing for bench press that you guys know I've been struggling with is getting leg drive. So what I mentioned in the last video that my coach Joe had told me was to kind of think about doing a leg extension into the floor. And I watched a video that I found somewhere on YouTube, I don't know who it was by, about getting like active leg drive on bench. And what he did was he had the bench like empty, no weights on it, so he was able to kind of kick the entire bench backwards while like digging his heels into the floor and kind of pushing forward. So that would kind of be like doing a leg extension into the floor. But I've been trying it on this day, and I tried it on the following day on my recovery day, and I really can't figure that one out. I think it might be just because I have so much tension already in my legs. Like my hamstrings are pretty much contracted, my glutes are definitely like fully contracted, and just kind of developing overall tension in my lower body doesn't really allow for those muscles to really contract anymore to get some active leg drive. So just gonna try and work on that over the next few weeks. I know that takes a pretty long time to get it like a new motor pattern like developed in your nervous system, but just something I'm going to be working on. If you guys have any tips or anything like that on how to get some good active leg drive in the bench, I'd really appreciate that. Alright, so deadlifts, this was Friday, this was this morning. 8 sets of 1 at 470, so like I said, and I've been saying, doing all singles for this prep, deadlifting twice a week. So earlier in the week was my speed day or power day, and this was my strength day, so this was a little bit heavier. I think somewhere around like 85%, and moving the bar just as fast as possible. For my rests, I was taking about like 60 to 90 seconds, probably closer to that 60-second mark, just kind of finishing on the rep, setting a timer on my phone, and then once 60 seconds rolled around, then I'd get ready to go for my next rep. All of those moved really well. Got my starting position up a little bit higher just so my hips don't shoot up at the beginning of the movement, and really happy with the way that those were moving. But I'm definitely feeling some effects from the low bar squats because it kind of uses more similar muscle groups to the deadlift as opposed to a high bar squat. So just making that transition, I'm noticing that my deadlift strength isn't where it was, or just the recovery isn't the same. So I'm hoping that once I kind of taper leading into the meet, then that won't really affect me at all. So here's that bench angle that I was talking about, and if you like watch my mouth and like me like breathing out right after the pause on my chest, you can see I'm kind of letting out just a little bit of air, and that really allows me to create a lot more explosiveness off of my chest. So I don't know if you guys have ever done that or tried that out, but I really feel like it's going to help me once I start dealing with heavier weights in order to kind of allow the bar to move faster through that sticking point so that it doesn't come down to me making or missing a lift until the weight gets heavier, even like up above my 1 rep max currently. So looking forward to trying that out when it comes to dealing with 90+% of my max as we get later on in prep. So this is the last clip of the video. Hope you guys enjoyed this one. Let me know what else you guys want to see, and any other like topics that you want me to talk about, leave them in the comments below. Thanks for watching, guys, and we'll see you in the next one. It's just 2 whole eggs cooked up on a tortilla here. This is like a cheese